The impact of Friday's bombing, quite clear. The target was the famous SYL Hotel. A major explosion went off here, just a few meters from the heavily fortified presidential palace, and a second one here. The terrorist group Al-Shabaab has already claimed responsibility. It says it targeted foreign diplomats and government officials. At least 15 people lost their lives in that attack.
The militant used two vehicles laden with heavy explosives. The impact is clear. It destroyed the houses nearby. Fortunately, they missed their target. Security forces stopped the vehicle and the terrorists detonated the car on the spot. 4 attackers were killed. 8 civilians lost their lives in the attack.
This is where the 2 vehicles went off, and it's not just the buildings that were destroyed, but also the road. Now this has raised a very serious concern here in Somalia on how lethal the terrorist group is. The militant group Al-Shabaab has warned of more attacks in the capital. SYL Hotel is a popular hotel frequented mostly by government officials. Authorities here feel challenged. They are now calling on public support.
I appeal to the Somali public to help the security forces with information to better foil such attacks. The Al-Shabaab claim to be waging a religious war, but it's evident that they are not. On all occasions, it's the innocent Muslim Somali population that gets killed. Let's all join this fight and flush out the terrorists.
This attack came a day after the militants targeted the presidential palace with mortar attacks, killing 4 members of one family and wounding a dozen others. And after this attack, the readiness of the security forces has been put into question. Abdul Aziz Bilo, CCTV, Mogadishu, Somalia.
Let's get more details now on this attack from CCTV's Abdulaziz Bilo, who joins us live with the latest from Mogadishu. Abdulaziz, Al-Shabaab has already claimed responsibility for their attack, but do we have any more information on how they managed to execute the plan in spite of the heavy security detail around the presidential villa and intensified efforts to secure Mogadishu?
Well, Penina, you're right. Security here remains a big challenge for the Somali government. Now, you're right that authorities here had increased the security of the capital after the militant group vowed to launch more attacks on government institutions and key bases here within Mogadishu. But in a press conference today in the morning, the Minister of National Security said that indeed the security forces who are manning the checkpoint near the famous hotel, Somali Youth League known as SYL, literally managed to foil the attack. So the government is saying, apart from the destruction and the death of at least 15 people, that the situation was able to be controlled at the early stages, in the sense that, that the security forces outside the main checkpoint area of the hotel stopped the vehicle that was laden with explosive devices, and after they stopped the vehicle, that's when the terrorists lost no option but exploded the vehicle right there. So the government here is saying that yes, it remains challenged, but the fact that they were able to stop the attack from being of a greater magnitude, in the sense that if the attackers reached the hotel, then it could have had a more impact. The government is saying that the attackers didn't manage to reach the hotel that is opposite the presidential palace. That's why the government is saying that this is indeed a boost for them, and that their forces were able to foil this attack, and that the attack was not of a much bigger magnitude. But what authorities here are acknowledging is that security remains a big challenge, and the Minister of National Security said that they will create new security reforms that will be able to monitor the number of vehicles that pass on the road and who own the vehicles, and where the vehicles are being checked at the garages. They will also monitor all these activities where these vehicles are fitted with explosive devices.
Well, Al-Shabaab has managed to carry out almost routine attacks in the capital, and that's in spite of having been kicked out of Mogadishu nearly 5 years ago. So what explanation do the authorities there give for their apparent inability to stem off such attacks?
Well, Penina, you're right. Al-Shabaab was flashed out of this city, Mogadishu, in August 2011. But until now, the group is still responsible for all the deadly attacks or in Somalia here, and especially in the capital, Mogadishu. They've claimed responsibility for all the deadliest of all attacks here in the city. Now, what the local administration here is saying is that they need public support in this fight. They're saying that the fact that they don't have public support is the reason as to why they're not able to stem off such attacks. But recently there was an operation in 2 districts here in northern Mogadishu. This is Huriwa and Yakshid area. Now, what the security forces actually did is that they raided these 2 districts at midnight, because they say that that's the time that the militant group actually meet, the sympathizers there, and the group meet there to be able to work out on the attacks before they carry out. So they're saying they're using the same tactic that the militants use, and they raided there and they arrested almost 26 Al-Shabaab fighters. So they're saying, yes, they're a bit challenged in terms of security, but they're struggling, they're trying their best to be able to achieve this. And they're saying that the fact that the forces are underfunded, poorly trained and poorly equipped is the reason as to why they cannot be able to stem off all attacks. But what the intelligence chief was telling us is that the number of attacks they've been able to foil is of a much more bigger number than the attacks that have been carried out in the city. So definitely for now, all they're seeking for is public support in this fight, but they're saying that they're trying their best here in Mogadishu.
All right, Abdulaziz Bello in Mogadishu, thank you for those insights.